So down on the driver's side of the vehicle, to fill the vehicle with water, you need a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap provided by site. Put your flat end of your hose in here and fill with fresh water. There's a point here, if you want to fill with a barrel, you can get a pump. Should you not be near any hose, you can pop the pins in there, pump into there, into here, and it will fill the tank with fresh water. This is your flue for your boiler, so just make sure that's always obstruction free. On electric, you'll probably not get anything out of it, but when it's powered with gas, you will get a bit of fumes out of the exhaust. Using the habitation key, which opens all the locks on the outside of the vehicle, including the gas locker, which is this, you open the gas locker up. In here, we've got the test bottles on, and what you want to do is to connect the pigtail to the cylinder. It's left to tighten, right to loosen, opposite ways with it being gas, and it is just a thread, so you don't need a spanner on this particular vehicle on this pigtail because it's a thumb wheel. Tighten it up. Always make sure your bottles are tightened in like this one shown here, round the collar, pulled in, and always make sure they are isolated before you travel, which is on the top of the cylinder. So turn it off on the top before you do drive off. If you're still not getting gas through, there's a little green button here on the bottom of the regulator, which is a crash valve or a motion sensor. You press that in for 10 seconds and it will reset. It does tell you there on the sticker about the crash valve reset sensor. But like I say, make sure they're turned off before you start driving, so it's safer for you and other road users. Connecting the vehicle with mains, you get your hooker bleed, you want to lift the collar and you want to slide it over the top. Always hook the connection up first on the vehicle, then onto the site or to the house if you're home charging, and when unhooking, do it the opposite way around, and then to disconnect it from the vehicle, press down here to release the cable. This is your cassette. So you've got a flush tank, which is called a header tank, where you put your green or your pink liquid in here. So carry yourself a little watering can or jug and just keep pouring in here until this goes right the way up, and that is your level of flush in your header tank. And then everything else goes into the cassette, so make sure the blade's closed on the toilet and you'll be able to lift the green lever and slide it out. Slide it out, you can either carry it or you can wheel it to the disposal point, which is normally on near the toilet block on site. And then you want to take this off, press the button there as you're pouring, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, some water in, give it a shake and a rinse, and then put some chemical in, which is a capful of chemical into here, and it's good to go back into the motorhome. So this can be blue or green chemical depending on what the site prefers you to use. On the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light, reversing cameras, and then a Fiamma bike rack. So that does just pull down. Bikes on here, depending on how big your bikes are, these move. Wheels, pull them in through the spokes to tie the wheels down, opposite ways with the two bikes. Last bike through the crossbar, and the shorter one closest to the back wall of the vehicle for your crossbars, so you can hold the bike at the top. Then we do recommend some bike lock around the bikes to keep them nice and safe and secure. Just coming back a moment to where the cassette is, just behind the back wheel of the driver's side of the vehicle, you've got your waste water. So this is anything that you've collected from any plug hole in the vehicle. You want to open this up and ensure this is drained off on the way out of your site over the disposal point, so that you're not carrying around dirty water. Now on the passenger side of the van, in this locker here, which is your storage, you've also got the location of your leisure battery. So it lives under here. You just take these nuts off the screws, lift the panel off, and you've got your leisure battery. But you do have a main 40 amp leisure battery fuse as well, so that you can, so not that that fuse will go, But should you have any problems and you're still not getting power, just check that fuse, because that's your main battery fuse. In the cab, on the passenger side, you've got your bonnet release here, so you need to open the door to release the bonnet. You've also got your main engine battery that lives underneath the cab floor, underneath this panel. The toolkit can be found underneath the passenger seat, which has got a jack, a brace and a tone eye in. Your tyre pressures are found here, so 5 bar on the front, which is 72.3 psi, and 5.5 on the back, which is 79.5. The fill with diesel is also at the passenger door, and is a lockable cap, which is able to be opened with the main gate key. So now underneath the bonnet, you do have all your liquids here. So you've got your coolant, your power steering fluid, the main one you're going to need at the back, which is your screen wash, followed by your brake fluid, your oil filler and your dipstick. Paint codes on this sticker should you ever need a touch-up pen or any paint. And then should you ever need to give a jump start, because the battery's underneath the cab floor, on the Ducato they do have a jump start point. So your negatives here for your earth, so get a good scrub on that for an earth next to the headlight. And then lifting this cover, you've got your positive for giving or receiving a jump start. So once inside the vehicle, above the habitation door, you've got your main 12-volt control panel. So if you press the power button, this is your master switch, so this turns on 12 volt. And as you can see there, it's hooked up, and at the moment the charge is going to the engine battery. Flick it over at the leisure when you're using it, and when you're using it, you always want the active battery to be the leisure battery. However, in the winter, when you want to charge the engine battery, you can just flick it over to the vehicle battery, and that sends a charge of the 240 hook up to the engine battery. Cabin lights is your master switch for your lights, and they all are individually switched around the vehicle. View your levels, you can view your leisure, your vehicle, your waste, your freshwater readings. Obviously with the hookup put in, the batteries give a false reading, so unhook the vehicle to get a true reflection of the battery readings. Making sure that you've got enough water on board, you can press power, and that will give the pressurised flow of water via the pump to your taps, toilet or shower. Frost protection you can use if it's going to freeze when you're using the van in the winter time. It stops the water in the tanks from freezing underneath the vehicle. And then you've got your awning light, which is the light on the outside of the motorhome. So to operate your Truma heating and hot water control panel, you turn on the panel here, and then you want to select the temperature, which is this one here. So as you can see there, it's 30 degrees. You can go up and down and then press set when you've got the right room temperature. But for this, we'll say 30 degrees and we'll press set. You can see there that it tells you the room temperature at the top, so it's currently saying it's 7 degrees. The heating's on at 30 and the hot water's on at 0 at the moment. So to turn the hot water on, which I'll get onto in a moment, this one here is your energy source. So to select your energy source, it depends whether you're on gas or electric, or you want to use a bit of both. So you can see there's an arrow there. You've got 230 volt at 4 amp, which is 750 watts. You've got 230 on 8 amp, which is 1850 watts. You've got gas power only, which you'd use if you were wild camping and didn't have any access to any mains, just gas. And then you've got gas and electric on 4 amp, which is 750 watts and gas, which is known as mixture 1, and then you do have a mixture 2 setting, which is 1850 watts of mains power and gas. But for this, we're just going to say both. So press here, scroll it down and press set. This is your water, so you can have your water on or off. So at the moment the water is off, scroll down, press set, and you do have your hot water on as well. And that is how you use your Truma CP25 control panel. Across the back of the vehicle you do have your kitchen area. You've got one electric hot plate, which is this one here, which operates when connected to mains 230 volt. Failing that, you've got your gas. Once you've had any of them on, turn them off and allow it to cool before you put the glass lid down, otherwise you may shatter the glass. And then underneath, you've got your oven, or should I say your grill. And underneath you do have your oven. Under here you do have your mains 230 volt plug for your electric hot plate, so if that is causing any issues you can isolate the socket here. Storage drawer, racks, sink drainer, cupboard, cutlery drawer, plates and cup rack holders, and some more storage along the back cupboard. And then behind you do have your kitchen lights and a mains 230 volt socket. So to operate this type of Dometic fridge, you've got your on-off button here, so you just press and hold and turn it off or turn it on. It's a three-way fridge, so it works on mains hookup, gas of the bottle, or battery of the engine battery when the engine is running. So it's not off the leisure battery, it's only when the vehicle is physically running, and it's mainly for travel mode. So if it's been to one site and you're driving to another and you've got you're shopping in the fridge, to keep it chilled, turn on the battery and it will keep it nice and fresh and act as a giant cool box when you travel. The gas you would use if you were wild camping and didn't have any electric, and electric you would use if you're at home to pre-chill the fridge beforehand, put your shopping in the night before, or if you were on a site. However, it's got an A setting here which stands for automatic energy selection, so it picks out the best source available to the motorhome at any one time, and it will always prioritise mains when it can on electric. It will jump through the sources available to the vehicle by itself, so if you've unhooked it and then you've started the engine, you don't need to come and press the battery. It will automatically know that and jump over to the battery setting as soon as the engine is started. The only time you will have to change it back is if you have been on, if you wait, it has a setting that waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas. And this is just a safety procedure in case you've been travelling on battery mode and you've stopped for fuel. It waits 20 minutes before lighting in case you forgot to isolate your cylinder. So in this case you would just have to manually press gas if you're wild camping to override this function. Here you have your temperatures, so 5 being the coldest when pre-chilling. When you put your shopping in, turn it down to 3 or 4, as sometimes it can be too strong and cause ice in the fridge. And then finally, when you're not using it, it's very important that you empty it, give it a clean out, and then on the little courtesy light here, you've got a little pin, push that in, these two pins pop out, that goes in there, doesn't stop the door, stops the door from closing. So it means that air can circulate in and out the fridge without causing mould and smell within the motorhome. Your microwave is an 800 watt mains microwave, so you do have to be hooked up for this to work. And then above it, you've got your main isolation plug for your microwave, and you've got your solar panel, which is currently charging your leisure battery. It's only as good as the round thing in the sky, so in the winter, pretty poor, in the summer, brilliant. But mains hookup does take priority when connected, and the solar panel does go to sleep. So there's nothing you really need to do with the solar panel apart from make sure that your roof is clean. And once every so often, just give the solar panel a wipe with a wet damp cloth, just to clean any tree sap or muck off the panel so that the cells are working as they should and providing the best charge it can into your leisure battery. Your gas isolation valves can be found in the bottom of the wardrobe. So you've got one red one which is for your water heater, a blue one which is for your oven, hob and grill, and a green one which is, so the blue one's for the fridge, and the green one's for the hob, grill and oven. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe as you are isolating the main source. But should it be one appliance that's you think has a problem with gas, you can't just isolate it like so. So you just turn it this way and that's shut. However, these are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. So in the washroom, to operate your Thetford toilet, ensure that the pump's on. Press the blue button here and you'll get your flush from your header tank. Always put a small amount of flush in before you open the blade. Use your toilet, flush it after use, and then always remember to close the blade. Once the toilet is full and the cassette indicates it's full, you'll get a green light on this gauge here which indicates that the cassette is full. Your shower screens, always make sure they're pinned back top and bottom before you travel. That will come across when you're having a shower to protect the toilet from getting wet. Your hand basin does fold down, and there you've got a pressurised flow of water from the hot and cold side of the tap. Two catches under here, open your toiletry cabinet. And then remember when you winterise that you want to unscrew the shower head from this hose. Lie the hose down in this shower tray to stop any water potentially sitting in here, and leave all your mixer taps throughout the vehicle open. So that's kitchen, hand basin and shower. And just be careful with what you clean all the plastic trays out with in the shower screen and shower tray. Don't use any harsh bleaches because you will discolour the finish. Just use microfiber cloth, fairy up liquid or Dettol spray, and be as very light as possible just so that you don't damage the finish of the shower tray. So underneath the bench seat behind the driver's seat is a location of your Truma boiler. Your Truma boiler does two jobs. It provides air-blown heating around the vehicle, and it also holds 10 litres of water in the cylinder to provide you hot water. In the winter, it's very important that when you're not using the vehicle, you drain the vehicle down. So you would start off from the outside and make sure that the fresh and the waste were drained off. You'd open all your taps within the van, remove your shower head from the hose, lie the shower head down in the shower tray just to stop any water from potentially freezing in there, and then you want to drain off the boiler. So just down here you've got a yellow toggle, and it's in the down position as it's lying on its side. You need to lift that up and you'll hear the water drain directly out underneath the chassis. You want to leave that in the up position when you're not using the vehicle. So any time from October to March, when we're experiencing cold temperatures where it's going to freeze overnight, make sure your boiler's drained down. When you come to reuse it, if you just lie the tap back down in this position, then close all your taps within the van, fill the van with water, turn the control panel on, put the pump on and bleed the water through. So cold side, automatic pressurised flow, hot side, coughing and spluttering, could take up to 5 minutes before you get a pressurised flow with one tap. Once you've done one, do them all. But remember to drain your boiler down, and when you are draining down and you've got rid of all the water, turn the water pump on for 10 seconds. It allows any water that sits in this filter here to be drained out so it doesn't freeze and cause any damage to your pump. 10 seconds is enough to drain the water out, then turn it off and park the vehicle up when you're not using it. When you come to reuse it, obviously do what I've said by bleeding the water through. Once you've done one tap, do them all, then your system is pressurised for the season ahead. But it's very important that you drain it down because it's not covered under warranty otherwise. So this is your Sargent EC450 power supply unit. So you've got a black button here which is a system shutdown button, which is a 12 volt isolation switch for your leisure battery. So if you were charging it and you didn't want to power drain, you can turn that off. You've got your trips at the top, so if you trip the vehicle, try here before you try your main sight. Or if you think you're not receiving power, the best way to check is tripping the van. If the van trips, you've got it. If it doesn't, and you're connected, it's probably where you're getting the power from. And then underneath, you've got all your fuses. So do carry a assortment pack of fuses, which you can get off the likes of eBay, Amazon, put them in the glove box of the vehicle, and then if a fuse does blow, you can just pick it out, check the middle. If the middle is broken, and you can replenish a fuse. But all the fuses are listed here on what fuse does what. So it's the right ampage, the colour, and the circuit description. To operate your Avtex TV, every time you move site you will have to retune the telly, and this is a 12 volt telly, and to do so you press AQT at the telly, OK, and it'll start an automatic channel search there and find as many channels as it can in your area.